This is Modkit Lesson 2, Block Programming. In this lesson, we're going to start with the Lesson 1 project that we created, and we're going to add an arm to the program. This could be a lift or a lever or an arm of any type. It's going to include buttons to customize the controller, to raise and lower the arm, and to hold the arm in position. So we are going to first start by clicking on Project, Browse. We are going to open Lesson 1 Hive that we created. So we have our drivetrain, we have our controller, and we have our brain. We're going to look at these features here on the left again, and we are going to find out what one we can add that will be our arm, a rotating arm. It is called a rotator. We drag that onto the screen. I'm going to move this one up a little bit. We drag our rotator on, and you can see that our rotator has the little star, the gear in the corner, and it has the spot to select the port. We're going to click on that gear, a little star, and we're going to customize it. Instead of calling it a rotator, I am going to call it arm. That's what makes more sense to me. Motor layout, we can have a left motor, a right motor, or two motors. I'm going to leave it a left motor. Limit switches, we're not going to have a limit switch. And then here's the gear ratio. I am going to use the 1:5 gear ratio. This checkbox down here, left motor reversed, we will talk about that later, but you would check this if when you test it, the arm is going in the opposite direction that you intended to go. Then you would come back in here and you would reverse the motor, re-download it, and then it would work properly. So now we have the rotator settings. We're calling it an arm with a 1:5 gear ratio with a single motor. Close that. Whoops, arm cannot be used. Cannot use arm. Call it a lift. Okay. So we want to have a button on our controller to make our lift go up and down. We do not have a controller icon like we do on the drivetrain. The drivetrain, we have a little controller icon. We clicked on that. That took us to the controller actions, or we could set them. We do not have that on our lift, so which means we can't do it the same way. We have to program it. Up on the top, we have the robot view, and we have the blocks view. We're going to need to use blocks view for this. I'm also going to change the name of it. Lesson 2, and I'm going to save it. So, in the robot view, we still have everything that we started with, but now we have to go to blocks view. So blocks view, you will see we have a brain tab. Gives us selections on the left, what we can choose for the brain. We have a drivetrain tab, which gives us selections on the left for the drivetrain. Controller tab, and a lift tab. So we are going to use the lift tab, and we are going to make a button on the controller to lift our arm, lower our arm, and hold the arm. Lift. We are going to start our program with when start. When start, what do we want to do? Click on the down arrow next to start, and we're going to click on controller. So this is how we get to our controller features. So we are going to have the left up button pressed. So when the controller left up button is pressed, we want the lift to rotate, and we have to click this in so that it's locked in. We want to rotate forward. When it's fully snapped in, that's how we do it. So when we push the left up button, the rotator will lift forward. We want it to go back down when we want to press it back down. So now we are going to do when controller left up button is released, what's going to happen? It's going to stop. So now we press the left up button and it rotates forward, and when we release the button, it stops. Now we want it to go back down. So now we are going to add another one. When controller left down is pressed, it's going to rotate reverse, and when the controller left down is released, it will stop. Okay, so now we have the buttons on the controller all situated. I'm going to just tighten these up a little bit. They're not going to touch each other, but I'm just going to make them in a nice, neat row. Sometimes when you hit the button on the controller to raise your lift, you want it to hold that position. If you test it, you'll see that when you raise it, it will slowly fall back down. So we are going to do that as well. We're going to pull out another when start. And we're going to pull out a set holding to on. And that is all you need to do to set the buttons on the controller for the lift. We are going to save it. We can download it to our robot brain again if we'd like. You will want to do that to test it. Going into slot 1 again. We will download it. Not connected. My brain's not on. Now the brain's on. Okay. Okay. What that means. I didn't select a port. Now, let's see if I can do it. Now it worked. Now I can test it.